This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
All right, here we go. It is Yay or Nay Show with Alex C., a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. I am just pulling up the recent poll questions that have come back. Let's start with this one. Who has the most pressure to win a NBA title? I put this between the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Nets. Of course, I said that the most pressure on any NBA team was, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks. For obvious reasons, their NBA title last year has an asterisk next to it. Every team that they had to go up against in the Eastern Conference lost all their stars, just like the Western Conference. So the Suns and the Bucks walked their way into the NBA Finals. Neither one of those two teams expected. Neither one of those two teams actually deserving to be in the NBA Finals last year, unless you want to say the two healthiest teams are the teams that always deserve to be playing for an NBA title, which obviously is not the idea and is not the case. So with that being said, the Bucks, because they didn't have to play anybody with their actual stars and they were able to walk their way into the NBA Finals, and then going up against a very weak Phoenix Suns team as a representative from the NBA West, were able to win an NBA title. Now this year, everybody pretty much is healthy. It's very competitive in the East, as it is actually on the West as well. So I would say that whoever gets in is going to be deserving this year, and we're going to get an NBA Finals like you should get this season. With that being said, that's why there is a lot of pressure on Milwaukee to prove that the NBA title that they in fact won last year was not a fluke. I believe it was a fluke, but with that being said, the idea is for them to win so they could prove me and everybody else like me wrong that says that their title last year was nothing more than a fluke. So again, the question was, who has the most pressure to win an NBA title? The Sixers actually were the team that everybody voted for. 88% of the votes went to the Philadelphia 76ers. 13% of the votes went to the Brooklyn Nets. And the Bucks actually didn't get any votes as far as being the team with the most pressure to win an NBA title. The other question that came back, do you consider Russell Westbrook an all-time great? Now, obviously, there's a lot of talk whether the Lakers should keep Russell Westbrook. And then, of course, there's all the talk about his post-game pressers and how combative with the press he's been and all the things that have went along that line. And my question was, because, of course, you get a lot of the former players, as always, they always take the side of players. Again, most of these sports shows you find on the Four Letter Network, especially where you have former players talking, when they do their shows, they're doing their shows for owners, for former players, for current players, for general managers, for assistant coaches, for coaching staffs in general, and general managers, whatever the case may be. They're not doing it for, and they're not talking to the fans. And that is just a fact. If you listen to these shows on the daily, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're not talking to you. The only reason why they're taking calls from anybody right now is because they don't have enough content for 4 hours of a show. So in order to be able to fill up their 4 hours of show, now all of a sudden, during the what they call the slow season, they're taking calls from people asking their opinions about the various topics that they're discussing. But once everything picks back up, they will no longer take calls. They will no longer care what the average fan thinks because they don't care in general. Again, right now they're just filling time. They don't have enough content, in their opinion, to be able to have a 4-hour show without adding callers in order to eat up the time slot. With that being said, again, the question is, do you consider Russell Westbrook an all-time great? Because, again, should the Lakers keep him? Should they not? And, of course, where I was going a moment ago with all the former players on all of the sports networks talking, they're all trying to convince you how great Russell Westbrook is, how he hasn't had a fair shot, how they believe him when he says he hasn't had a fair shot with the Lakers and all that stuff. And, fans, we're not buying it. We know Russell Westbrook. Look, to get a triple-double, while they call it impressive, I don't. Because to get a triple-double, guess what? you only have to get 10 points. 10 points. 10 assists, more difficult. 10 rebounds, more difficult. Unless you play for the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they did everything they could to make sure Russell Westbrook got his 10 rebounds, but that's a whole different conversation. But the bottom line is, 10 points, folks, I could suit up and go on an NBA court and get 10 points. Sorry. If you gave me 36 minutes of play, I'm going to get 10 points. So give me a break. That's not an accomplishment. But with that being said, Mr. Triple-Double, do you consider Russell Westbrook an all-time great? And I'm surprised at the results here. 67% of the people that voted said, yay, they do consider Russell Westbrook to be an all-time great. I disagree, but hey, you vote. I tell you how you voted. Here's the other question. And it goes back to what I was reverting to a moment ago. Should the Lakers keep Russell Westbrook? 100% of the people that voted said, nay, the Lakers should not keep Russell Westbrook. Now, here's what's confusing about these polls. In one poll, you're saying he's an all-time great. In another poll, you're saying the Lakers shouldn't keep him. Well, that kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. How can you have an all-time great, but you don't want to keep him? But, again, you vote. I tell you how you voted. Here's the other question, because, of course, there was all the conversations about the Masters and Tiger, Augusta, his comeback story, and I've already told you my opinion on the comeback story. This is self-inflicted wounds, so I don't consider it to be a comeback story when it's 100%, self-inflicted wounds. I just don't consider it to be that. But again, national sports media, former players, always on the side of the athlete, always about the athlete. The question is Tiger Woods a role model? 64% of the people that voted said nay. Tiger Woods is not a role model, so we definitely agree there. Absolutely. Okay, flipping over to the NBA, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in regards to the NBA. Kyrie Irving, we all know about the incident. We talked about it at length yesterday. We knew the NBA was going to have to do something and make some kind of a move. They did. Kyrie Irving was fined $50,000 for flipping off the Boston Celtics fans during Game 1. Now, I believe Game 2 is tonight, and I'm just curious to see, is Kyrie Irving going to grow up and mature, or is he going to remain the same and let the crowd get in his head? And again, I blame the loss on Kyrie Irving in regards to that game. Had he been focused on the game just a little bit more, then maybe the Celtics would not have won the game. Maybe Brooklyn would have got a little more production on the offensive end if Kyrie would have been more focused on the game. And I'm not saying more production from Kyrie in regards to points, but maybe a couple of more assists, maybe some steals, maybe, buckle down, play some defense. He's not exactly known for that. But again, to lose by 1 point, to talk all the smack you talk smack when you win. You look dumb when you lose. Staying with the NBA playoffs, let's talk about some of the results from yesterday's Game 2s. We had the Raptors and the 76ers, and the Sixers, of course, won 112-97. Look, I said before this series started, the Raptors, I don't know why a lot of these NBA analysts thought that the Raptors were good and they were going to have a shot at beating Philadelphia. They're not a very good team. They fall in love with players. They don't look at the team as a whole. The team as a whole is average, subpar, average at best. And the Raptors got their butts kicked like they should by Philadelphia, 112-97. 76ers looking a little better than I thought they would. I figured they'd win the series. I did, absolutely. And I think they might wrap this up in 4, to be honest. I wasn't thinking that at first, but watching how the 76ers are playing, I think they're going to wrap this up in 4 and move on to round 2. But I don't know why, again, because it's the thing that I just can't wrap my head around. I don't know why the national sports media kept repeating over and over and over that they wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors beat the 76ers. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that was a shot. Now, the Jazz and the Mavericks. The Jazz lose 104-110. Some people, including the sportscasters and the announcers from last night, were saying that the Mavericks were looking to steal one and that they, in fact, did steal one. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Look, the Jazz aren't that good to begin with. Again, they're good, but they're not great. They last year, I think, were a little overhyped. This year, I think people sat back and kind of just watched them a little bit and determined that, maybe they were wrong about them last year. And this year, again, nobody really overhyped them. However, without Luka Doncic, nobody thought the Mavericks had a shot at beating the Jazz. My whole thing is this could be a great series going 6 games. And I think the Mavericks have a shot at winning it, absolutely. And I actually picked them to win it because the Jazz are a so-so team. And I think the Mavericks are the better team even without Luka Doncic. But again, national sports media wanted to say that Dallas stole one. I think this is a series Dallas can win even without Luka. Series is tied 1-1. Obviously going to be heading back to Utah. The other game that took place last night, and a phenomenal game it was, a phenomenal display of basketball skills. Warriors over the Nuggets, 126-106. The Warriors showing you that they are back. Now that they're healthy, they got everybody on the court. They are absolutely, now that they are fully healthy, that is, they are absolutely one of the top 3 teams in the NBA right now. No doubt about it. They are popping off points as fast as ever, looking just as good as they did 3 years ago. I was highly impressed with how the Warriors performed. They got a lot of other stars outside of the Splash Brothers. Draymond Green continues to be stellar, play great defense, and he obviously is a big disrupting force. And their only Achilles heel, actually, when you look at the Warriors, is the fact that they don't have a true center. That's really the only thing I think that is hurting the Warriors is they don't have a true center. I think that when they go up against a team that does have a true center, I think that'll pose some problems for them, even though they do pop off outside the way that they do, because if they go cold or if they only hit, say, a 30% clip or something like that from the outside, I don't think they can win a series like that. So they're going to have to find a way to penetrate, dish, and do all the things that they did last night and survive going up against somebody with a true center. I think that the Nuggets, the Joker, did a great job, but he's a guy who can't put a team on his shoulders. As good as he is, he's more of a good individual player. He doesn't seem to elevate other players around him, and I don't really see him as a true center. The way he plays ball is not really a true center. I think the Warriors, for instance, if they went up against the Suns, because they do have a couple of bigs who stay in the paint and live in the paint, I think that would pose some problems for the Warriors. And for the Warriors to beat the Suns, they would have to do it from out deep. But again, who knows? I could be wrong. I haven't seen enough of the Joker. Maybe I'm wrong about how he plays, but from what I saw last night, to me, he doesn't look like a true center. I believe that if he stayed in the paint, he could truly dominate and he could truly, truly own the inside, and he could be a big opposing force for the Warriors, and he could really, really do some damage to the Warriors, but he just doesn't live in the paint enough. He's too busy, trying to shoot outside, three-pointers, and do all the things like Anthony Davis. If he lived in the paint and if he played in the paint with, a 6'6" guy on him, there's no way in the world they would be able to stop Jokic from scoring at will. And I think the Nuggets could, in fact, at least keep it close. They would probably still lose because the Warriors' outside shooting would definitely outperform the Denver Nuggets, but they could at least keep it close, slow the pace down, get it into Jokic, and let him just be a dominating force in the paint. And I think they would at least keep it close. And I think that is the formula for them to beat the Warriors if they want to have a shot. But if they continue to play the way that they've been playing with the Joker shooting all over the place and not really being a dominating force in the center, because again, I think on the offensive boards, the defensive boards, if he was crashing the boards and if they were posting him up, he would easily be scoring at will, and it would be a lot tougher and it would be a lot closer, and the Nuggets would have a true opportunity to even up this series and maybe even, and again, it's a huge maybe even win the series. But again, he would also need the Warriors to have some cold slumps in order for them to win as well. But if he's in the middle dominating the way that I believe he could dominate, because he's only going up against a 6'6" player in Draymond Green, he should be scoring and dunking at will. And if he crashes the boards, he should be able to out-rebound Draymond, and he should be able to get Draymond Green into foul trouble, which is another thing that Joker should be looking to do. If he's able to get Draymond into foul trouble, that would be that much better for them. I'm telling you, there's a formula there. If they follow it, they can win. But they have to slow the pace of the game down. They got to go inside, post up Jokic, and let him get Draymond Green in foul trouble, not to mention dominate the offensive, defensive glass, and score at will. If they do those things, and slow the pace of the game down, make it a lower scoring game, the Nuggets will have a much better opportunity to win some games and take the series. Just telling you, that's what they got to do. There's no doubt about it in my mind in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So there's a story out. They talk about the teams that are still standing and talk about, what they're looking at in regards to their push for the NBA Finals. Let's start with the Phoenix Suns. They are claiming, and this is according to the 4-letter network, by the way. Let me put that out there. This is according to the 4-letter network. The Phoenix Suns, they're saying they're on a redemption tour. So the Suns are trying to become the 15th team in league history to lose in the NBA Finals and then win the championship the following season. The last team to do so was the Warriors in 2016-17, who added Kevin Durant after their 73-win team fell short against the Cavaliers in Game 7 of the 2016 Finals. Booker also might be the most under-radar MVP candidate ever. Devin Booker averaged 26.8 points, 5 rebounds, and 4.8 assists on the league's number one team. While Booker didn't check all 3 boxes, all 12 players in NBA history to average 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists for the team with the best record in the league went on to win MVP that season. Booker appears to be a long shot for the award, and the snub could motivate him even further in the playoffs. The point guard is fending off Father Time. This is another narrative of the Phoenix Suns. It says, should Phoenix make it back to the finals, Chris Paul will be just one of 7 players age 37 or older to start a finals game since the NBA officially started tracking starting lineups in 70 and 71. The Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is about to hit his biggest stage. So Morant, who has chastised networks for not giving the Grizzlies enough national TV time, loves the bright lights, and he has produced in pressure situations during his young NBA career. Memphis bowed out in 5 games to the Jazz in last year's first round, but Morant averaged 30.2 points in the series, including a franchise record 47 in game number 2. Another byline for the Grizzlies is the Grizzlies are young and out to make history. The Grizzlies' average age weighted by playing time is 24.4 years old. They're the youngest team to finish with a top 2 record since minutes became official in 51 and 52, according to the 4-letter network stats and information research. The next team that we're going to discuss is the Golden State Warriors. And their byline is the Big Three shared the court for 11 minutes. So when Klay Thompson returned to the Warriors lineup in January, that was supposed to be the final piece to Golden State's puzzle. That was wishful thinking. The day Thompson came back, Draymond Green went out for 2 months with a back injury. The day Green came back, Steph Curry sprained his foot. So the Warriors' Big Three have played just 11 minutes together this season, which is what I was talking about a few minutes ago when I said, when the Warriors are healthy like they were last night, there is no doubt in my mind they're one of the top 3 teams in the NBA. Another quick byline I want to give you for Golden State is Jordan Poole played more than 11 minutes and had a breakout season. So when Thompson was working his way back from his injuries, Poole stepped in as the starting 2 guard and got off to a hot start at the beginning of the season. Now with Curry out, he has been plugged into Curry's spot and has excelled yet again. Poole dominated in March, averaging 25.4 points, 4.9 assists, and 3.9 rebounds throughout 19 games, scoring 20 or more points in 17 consecutive games and leading the league in made threes with 67. The Dallas Mavericks, let's talk about them a little bit. So Luka Doncic hits another level in big games. So Doncic had a long track record of performing when the stakes were high when he arrived in the NBA as a teenager. He had won multiple championships with Real Madrid, earning MVP of the EuroLeague's Final Four in his last act before making the leap to the NBA. But the thing is, keep in mind, Doncic is injured. He's not there right now. That's going to be something that they're going to have to figure out how to overcome. Utah Jazz, let's talk about them a little bit. So the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell pours in the playoff points. So Donovan Mitchell has established himself as one of the premier playoff scorers in NBA history. He ranks 5th all-time in playoff points per game at 28.9, minimum 25 games, behind only Kevin Durant among active players. But it's yet to result in a deep playoff run. Dominique Wilkins is the only other player among the top 20 in his career playoff points per game to never appear in a conference finals. The next team we want to talk about is going to be the Denver Nuggets. So Nikola Jokic is even better than last season when he won the MVP. So Jokic has put up some historic numbers this season. He became the first player in NBA history with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists in a season, and his 32.92 player efficiency rating, PER, set the league's all-time record while carrying the entirety of the Nuggets offense with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. sidelined. The next team we want to talk about is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves, the team that surprised everybody with a victory in Game 1. They might have the best shooting big man ever. So after joining Dirk Nowitzki as the 2 tallest three-point contest winners, the 6'11" Karl Anthony Towns declared himself the greatest big man shooter of all time. No player taller than 6'10" has matched Towns' 39.7 career accuracy with more than 50 3-point attempts per stathead.com. And then, of course, there's the New Orleans Pelicans. The Stars have found their groove. After a 1-4 start, the Pelicans have won 8 of 10 games in which C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram have played together. Ingram has missed time with a hamstring injury, but the two have discovered a chemistry on the court. The Pelicans have 116.9 offensive rating with those two on the court, the third best rating on the team among two-man lineups with at least 200 minutes. And then let's talk about the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference. So, and the curious case of Jimmy Butler is the headline. So heading into last month of the season, Butler's splits from beyond the arc were not great. October, November, December, January, February, he didn't have a good one. But then came April, and Butler, while noting his teammates have been telling him to shoot more from distance, he recorded 1.3 makes on 3 attempts per game. It's a trend the Heat need to stick to in the playoffs if they want to have a shot at making a deep run. The Boston Celtics. So they have been a new team since late January. Prior to going to Washington on January 23rd, Boston was a 500 team, barely outscoring its opponents. Since then, the Celtics have clearly been the best team in the East, outscoring teams by more than 14 points per 100 possessions, while rocketing up the standings from the bottom of the play-in tournament morass to claiming home court advantage in the first round and establishing themselves as a legitimate title contender. All right, the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo just put up another MVP-worthy campaign. Antetokounmpo is a contender to win his 3rd MVP after another dominant season leading the defending champs. He spent stretches this season as their primary playmaker and spent more time at center than ever before, all while challenging for the scoring title at 29.9 points per game, 3rd in the NBA, and being a contender for the Defensive Player of the Year award. And, of course, next up, the Philadelphia 76ers. They can't be stopped when Harden and Embiid share the court. Since pairing Harden and Embiid at the trade deadline, Philadelphia has seen the new superstar duo dominate. Philadelphia outscored teams by 15.9 points per 100 possessions with their 2 All-Stars sharing the court, the second best mark among NBA duos with at least 600 minutes playing together. And, of course, there's the Toronto Raptors. It says they have a bench They just don't use it very often. So at a time when managing player health is more important than ever, Toronto's willingness to play its starters heavy minutes is a throwback. Each Raptor starter, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Gary Trent Jr. is inside the top 30 in the NBA in minutes per game, with VanVleet and Siakam at the top of that list, both averaging 37.9. It will be interesting to see how Toronto's ceiling adjusts in the playoffs as other teams play their top players as much as the Raptors already are. But remember, I'm not saying that the Raptors have a shot at winning this in any way, shape, or form. I don't care what they do with their bench players. The Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan is the new king in the fourth. So DeRozan has carried the Bulls to a few close wins this season by being excellent in the clutch. This season, he has scored 157 points on 53.5% shooting in clutch time, defined as the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime, with the score within 5 points, becoming only the fourth player in the past 10 years to pull it off. And I get it. A lot of people like to talk about DeMar DeRozan and talk about how great he is. But look, he's not enough to get Chicago past anybody. The Brooklyn Nets, stars have overcome a porous defense. Now, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are two of the most dynamic offensive players in recent NBA history. They can get their own shot seemingly whenever they want, and both players continue to display their dominance, as evidenced by Durant's 55 points in an April 2nd loss to the Hawks and Irving's 60 points in a March 15th win over the Magic. But will that offense brilliance hold up? The Nets defense has been sliding since a strong start to the season. They come into the postseason ranked 20th with a 112.3 defensive rating. So those are basically the teams that are in the playoffs. These are the notes in regards to the teams on the playoffs. And we have one more to go over real quickly. That's the Atlanta Hawks. It says they're out to shock the NBA world again. Last season, the Hawks stunned the league with their late season turnaround and trip to the East Finals. Could they surprise everyone again? To do so this time, they'll have to win twice to make it out of the play-in tournament, which they did. But the Hawks have been exceptional at home this season, third most home wins in the East, and any team with Trae Young in the playoffs will have a chance. And I would have to agree. I mean, Trae Young is an exceptional player without a doubt. There's no doubt about it. He is absolutely 100% exceptional. Now, playoffs, going to be a lot of fun to watch. More games tonight. We'll talk about those tomorrow in regards to what tonight's results are. But let's flip over to the NFL really quickly. So Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns, they make Denzel Ward NFL's top paid cornerback with a 5-year, $100.5 million extension. Sorry, I don't know where I got exception from. All right, now that includes a $71.25 million guarantee. At age 24, Ward is now the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. The $20.1 million average annual salary puts him ahead of Jalen Ramsey, who had been the highest paid cornerback at $20 million per season on the deal he signed with the Los Angeles Rams in 2020. This is a great deal. I can't say enough about Cleveland, except for the fact that I don't agree with the whole quarterback situation. Every other signing Cleveland has made has been spot on, and you got to give it up to them. They are definitely going to be as competitive as you want them to be. I'm not, again, agreeing with the whole quarterback situation, but that's not for me to say. I'm not the owner. Tavarius Ward signs with San Francisco 49ers. They agree to a 3-year deal worth up to $42 million with $26.7 million guaranteed. What it means for the Niners is they finally address their biggest need, which is cornerback, in a significant way. In fact, this is the biggest financial outlay the Niners have made at the position since Coach Kyle Shanahan and General Manager John Lynch arrived in 2017. Tavarius Ward is a great addition to the San Francisco 49ers, who, by the way, made a lot of great additions so far in the offseason. They made a lot of great moves. They got to figure out what they're going to do with the quarterback because they haven't really announced it, but they've made a lot of great moves roster-wise, otherwise. Flipping back over to the NBA really quickly, NBA Defensive Player of the Year award. This one I thought was really interesting. It goes to guard Marcus Smart. He's been named the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, and it's the first Player of the Year award for Smart, who was the first guard to take home the honor since Gary Payton in the 95-96 season. Payton was on hand at the Celtics practice facility Monday to give Smart the award. So big congratulations going out to Marcus Smart winning the NBA Player of the Year award. All right, so again, a lot of games getting ready to happen tonight as far as NBA playoffs go. We'll discuss those results. I got a few other things I wanted to talk about, but I'm out of time for today, so we'll get back at it tomorrow. You guys enjoy tonight's NBA action. This is Yay or Nay Show with Alex C.